Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this spring session of the OnlineTestConf. Joel here, and thanking you once again for taking part of these sessions. We are getting started with our last session of today. Tonight, if you're on the European section, or even later if you're on the Pacific section. So, guys, I want to introduce, I'm not going to go for last names, and I do apologize for that, both Adisa and Amela, I think that it is, from Bosnia-Herzegovina. And Adisa, Amela, are you with me? You can unmute yourselves if you want.
Yes, hi, Joel. Hi. Hello.
So you'll need to help me out with your last names, but I want to first of all introduce you one by one. So Amela or Amelia?
Amela, actually, yes. Amela Teftedarija. It's a complicated name in our language as well. Last name.
It's more complex than mine, and that says quite a lot.
Yes.
So Amelia is a lead QA engineer at Comtrade. She has over 10 years of experience in testing. She's both a certified Scrum Master as well as an ISTQB grad. And Adisa, Adisa, what's your last name?
Sinanovic.
Oh, yours is actually, forget it, yours is cool. That's like Jones over there. So this also works at Comtrade. She's a QA engineer. She's also she's focused on automation, and she's also a Scrum Master and ISTQB certified. And both of you, if I understand correctly, you're part of the organizers of the Share IT Sarajevo meetups, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. So they're going to be presenting a very interesting topic, actually a very important one, if you ask me, and that is adding value to Agile teams. So ladies, the floor is yours. And I want to remind everyone, if you have questions, go ahead and use the Q&A or Slack, and I'm going to be monitoring both and going over the questions later on. So ladies, your turn.
Just to check, do you see our screen?
Yes, we're seeing your screen.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joel, for this great introduction. So I hope you can hear us. The sound is okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation, Agile Testing, Adding Values to Agile Teams. As already mentioned, my name is Amela, and I am happy that I'm here and that I'm part of online testing. Sorry, just a second, Joel, we have some issues. Can you switch slides, Adisa?
We can hear you okay, but the slide's still the same one.
Yes, we can't figure out which one we are sharing.
Yes, we are sharing the second screen.
Okay, but that one. Okay, great. Sorry about that.
Okay, you switched. No worries.
Yes. Okay. So I'm happy that I'm part of Online Testing Conference this year. Recently, I started speaking at international conference, and I really like it. And here with me is my colleague and co-speaker Adisa. Also, we would like to encourage you to type your questions during the presentation or comments or whatever you have, because we want this to be more interaction between us.
Hello, I would also like to wish you welcome. Hopefully we will have discussions, positive atmosphere, and for sure we will all learn something new from this lecture.
Okay, now something about how we decided to make this presentation. Well, in our company, in Comtrade, we noticed that testers who have worked on traditional projects were struggling when moved to Agile projects. And also, if you had a chance recently to read the State of Software Testing in 2017, International Report on Software Testing Profession, published by PractiTest and Tea Time with Testers, 87 of all respondents said that they work with Agile or Agile-like methodologies. And this was a testing survey with more than 1,600 participants from over 60 countries. So like them, like most of people in this industry, we had a chance to work on traditional projects and on some other projects that were presenting themselves as Agile. This means that they were only Agile by name. They didn't truly support Agile mindset. And when we started working on Agile projects, we needed to adapt to the process, and it was not as easy as we expected. Personally, for me, everything was going fast, and it felt like much more work for us, for testers. So with this presentation, we wanted to share some of the lessons that we have learned from our experience. And we believe the testers need to understand and to accept Agile values as well as principles, because they are integral part of this whole team approach, together with developers and business representatives. And as we already mentioned, we would also like to mention our meetup group, Share IT Sarajevo. The idea of this community is to share our experience, our thoughts, ideas on different topics related to software development and as well as software testing. And Adisa and I are one of the organizers and speakers in this meetup group. It was created 1.5 years ago, and we give our best to organize regular meetups. Also, we are especially proud of our meetup Learning to Test, Testing to Learn, which was part of Eurostar, Team Star competition last year in 2016, and our team was the winning team. So also, we would like to mention that this presentation is product of some findings, discussions we had on those meetups and experience from working on different projects.
And now we will start with some challenges. And if you want to share some of the challenges or problems that you had on your project, share please with us. You can type into our Slack channel, and we can all discuss them at the end of presentation. And we will continue with challenges that we have identified in our QA community, in Comtrade, and from our meetups. The first one, communication. We all know that no matter how good the process or team member experience is, if there is lack of communication amongst the team members, or perhaps with product owners, designers, etc., nothing will work as expected, and tester is always in between and needs to find solution of this problem, because as we all know that Agile development depends on constant collaboration. And we often had the case that some team members do some changes to the source code, and they forget to inform us testers. And as you all know, we usually lose a lot of time till we understand what the problem is. The solution that we found useful is Three Amigos meeting. Some of you are probably familiar with this term. On every meeting, developer, tester, and business analyst need to be present. And the aim is to create common understanding and shared vocabulary among these individuals. And the main goal is that everyone understands everything regarding the product. And also what is helpful for being informed is to have a tool to plan and track your release. On my project, we are using Jira, and we are using it because we can create our own workflow that involves all specified team members, because every team has a unique process for shipping software. Okay, now the next value, the defects are considered on personal basis. Most of us are familiar with this picture. Of course, this picture doesn't represent the actual state. Testers are not satisfied that they have found a bug. They're satisfied because they will deliver quality product on time. And developers, they always stand firm on the ground and think, yes, they think that they're always right. And what to say about the management? Do you have any objection to this picture? But we still need to work to improve the communication between team members. Defects are often seen as criticism, and testers need to use tact and diplomacy when raising defects. And as we all know, but just to remind all of us that defects need to be raised against software, not against individual. And Amela and I, we are coming from an environment where people are very emotional, temperamental, we can say impulsive, yes, and they accept criticism badly. So we needed to learn how to raise defects in a constructive way to avoid bad feelings. But good communication between team members is crucial to have that positive energy among the team members. Okay, the next one, limitation of time. Most of the stories with large complexity are ready for testing at the end of the current sprint, and at that time it's difficult to complete your sprint goals. Or mostly the situation that we have on our project is that all the stories are closed on the last day of the sprint. And And that, or burn down chart, is a flat line until the last day of the sprint. So we think that in most teams the situation is the same, that there is not enough time to test, that features are not thoroughly tested. And on one of our meetups, one of our colleagues, he mentioned that they had a situation on project where installation of the application to the non-default location, it failed because the developers have hard-coded paths. It was discovered before release, but the problem was that they didn't have enough time, so they didn't cover this test case in regression testing.
Yes, and also, Adisa, if I may add, we had these similar problems on my project, and what helped us was use of swarming method. Because when swarming, the whole team works together on the same story, and the story is not considered done until all team members, developers, manual testers, automation testers, designers, have finished tasks related to that story. The benefit of this is that the whole team is working on the same story at the same time. And we were trying not to take another story until the current one is finished. Before this, our sprint basically had this mini waterfall model. Developers worked on a story. After that, testers took over. So developer continued to work on another story and so on. Also, changing requirements at the last minute or dropping stories in the middle of the sprint is not uncommon in Agile projects, unfortunately. But we all know that we should be able to respond to change, because knowing that in Agile projects, change is something that is inevitable. And when requirements change, especially toward the end of the sprint, and there is not enough time to test adequately, we should provide as much information as possible about what tests have been run, which part of application hasn't been tested well, so the whole team can make informed decision, possibly based on risk, whether to release the feature or not. And also another challenge that we had, another thing that was hard for me personally to accept, is that in Agile, testing is not a phase, it is continuous activity. It starts from the very beginning, even before the development starts. And this means that testers should collaborate with product owners to learn details of the story and then help them write good acceptance criteria. So also we should start creating tests, automated or manual, as soon as possible. So when the feature is available for testing, we can begin straight away. Important thing here, I believe, is that testers need to practice to prevent defects before they even happen, rather than only to detect them, because this is far more cost effective. And basically, Agile testing mindset needs to be accepted. Adisa already mentioned Three Amigos meeting. Some of you are probably familiar with this. And on my project, all team members are present on every meeting. So I always have access to all the information that I need. And I don't know how many times I asked my product owner or other team members to explain some lines in documentation. So as always, good communication is key to success.
The next challenge, estimation effort. I think that we all were in this situation at least once. We all know that estimating the size and scope of new tasks, it can be difficult, especially for new team members. With experience, we will be able to estimate it more accurately, but in the meantime, we can always ask more experienced team member for help and to ask for clarifications of user stories using examples. And of course, the way that it's explained in the picture is obviously not the best way. Okay, the next one, missing story information. Sometimes we don't have all the details or well-defined acceptance criteria. This creates a challenge for testers because there's lack of understanding of requirements, so proper test cases cannot be constructed. To start testing, we don't need all the detailed requirements. We should be thinking about high-level scenarios that test the concept of the story rather than waiting to get full clarification about the feature. Asking questions all the time will help us to get all the details. We don't presume anything. It's always better to check twice. and getting an example, it turned out to be very helpful. In this way, we are sharing common understanding of the story. Okay, the next slide. Manual testing. Okay, doing manual regression testing, that it takes lots of time and people for working on this. And since sprints usually they last 2 weeks, there's simply not enough time for manual testing of each new build. Of course, the solution is to automate regression tests, but we should also remember that exploratory testing is still very much needed and it cannot be replaced with test automation. Because exploratory testing is focused on new features that have been developed, and skilled exploratory tester, he may discover issues in the system that could not be detected with automation.
Yes, one of big concerns in our company is whether testers should write automation scripts or not. We personally, because we are passionate test automation engineers, believe that it is always a good practice to improve your knowledge, to learn new things whenever you have the opportunity. And working in agile environment means that testers should be at least technically competent to help and maintain automated scripts. But if tester comes from purely manual or exploratory background, they usually find it difficult to keep up with the automation. So solution to that is exploring the internet, reading books, internal, external trainings, participating on local meetups, and so on. Also, important thing here is that your smoke and regression scripts should have Jenkins or Bamboo plans connected to deploy plans, because it helps a lot. And yeah, basically, I think most of the teams already have this setup. And what we forget sometimes is that not only tests can be automated, also setup of testing environment is one thing that can be automated. Because, for example, one of our colleagues mentioned that she needed 3 days for environment setup before. And now that that process is automated, the environment is ready in 20 minutes. So it's really huge improvement. Another challenge that we faced in our company is working distributed teams. Because our company is an international company, it has offices in many countries, in Eastern Europe and also in Western Europe. And for teams that are distributed in multiple geographical locations, communication can be a challenge. We all know that face-to-face communication has no substitute. And agile development depends on constant collaboration. So it's harder to have all the information and all discussions when one or more team members are offsite. It's not the best way to communicate using emails, because then you have delay in communication, you have a lot of email chains, and so on. We learned from our experience that the better solution is to have video conference calls and to share screen whenever there's a chance to, because then people have feeling that they work with the actual persons. I basically saw some of my colleagues for the first time during those calls, during those online meetings. And the whole team should make effort to include remote people into everyday team activities. Because we want fast feedback, the ideal case is that all team members are in the same time zone. But of course, this is not always the case. And so every team needs to make effort to have constant information flow and to use collaboration tools. Today, there are so many tools for communication and collaboration. You just need to find the right one for you and your team. In our company, as I already mentioned, we have a lot of distributed teams. And we noticed that we worked much better with each other when we had a chance to meet in person and to talk about non-work related topics. So once a year, we have a big team building to meet our teammates in person, to have fun together. And also during the year, our company makes an effort to gather the whole team on the same location during planning sessions or if there is a need for knowledge transfer. This also proved to be a great help. Okay, so far we talked about some of the challenges that we had in our work. And addressing those challenges is one way of adding value to your team. But also now we want to mention some values that we believe Agile tester needs to embrace. in order to contribute effectively to Agile teams. First, we would say gather around and share experience. This means include yourself into local testing communities. Attend meetups with testing subjects. Come to meet fellow testers, share stories, experiences about tools, techniques, which may or may not solve some other problems on other Agile projects. This is already good practice in our company, as we already mentioned. Adisa and I are part of Share IT meetup group. And also a lot of information about free webinars, about conferences like this one, about workshops, trainings. They can be found on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn.
Okay, next value, improve yourself. Agile testers with right skills and Agile mindset, we are constantly looking for ways the team can do a better job in producing high quality software. As Amela already mentioned, this may mean attending local meetup groups, round tables to find out what other teams are doing, reading blogs, attending conferences, internal or external trainings. It also means trying out new tools for execution or automation of tests. And testers who don't bother to learn new skills and grow professionally, they contribute to the perception that testing is low-skilled work. And we should not limit ourselves. And Amela and I, we agree with Alan, who mentioned in his opening keynote that we should try new things and experiment all the time. Okay, the next one, the whole team approach. The whole team approach, it means involving everyone with the knowledge and skills necessary to ensure project success. In Agile projects, the whole team is responsible for quality. The whole team works together in every step of the development process, and we all are involved in any consultations or meetings in which product features are presented, analyzed, or estimated. And now, creativity. Creativity, its ability to find hidden patterns, to make connections between seemingly unrelated phenomena, and to generate solutions. It's a feature that testers need to possess. It involves two processes, thinking and then producing. And we constantly need to reinvent. We need to challenge things, to try different ideas, different technologies, and we just need to be creative.
Yes, the difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones. With this quote, we wanted to represent openness to try new ideas and approaches, because openness is one of the core Agile values. It keeps our mind open to new ideas, but we basically need courage to let ourselves fail, because if you're not failing on occasion, you are not really pushing your limits. And at least we know in Agile, if we fail, we'll fail fast and be able to learn from our mistakes. Next value represents fast feedback. We all know that Agile projects have usually short iterations, usually 2 weeks, enabling the team to receive early and continuous feedback on product quality. So feedback plays a big part in any Agile team. As testers, we have always been information providers. So early and frequent feedback helps the team focus on features with the highest business value or associated risks, and these are delivered to customer first. If you want something in your life you've never had, you'll have to do something you've never done. This is willingness to take any task or role. Responding to change is a key Agile value, but it's not always easy, especially for us, for testers, because stability is what we crave for. But Agile testers should, of course, focus on the tasks that they usually perform. However, you should not fear to take any task that is in best interest of the team, and from time to time to try something new. We had a lot of discussion about this on our meetups, and one of the colleagues mentioned that testers need to be much more involved, much more technically competent, so even to analyze the code. But personally, I don't believe that's possible. I don't think that you could be expert in all the areas.
I agree with Amela. And now the next value, constant view of the big picture. As an Agile tester, we must constantly be focused on the big picture. We should ensure that we deliver value in each iteration. We try to identify necessary functionality for every story. In that way, we are sure that we will deliver at least one core functionality. We always consider what adds the most value to the customer, and we try to understand the whole context. We test in small packages, but we don't lose sight of the big picture. Now, the next value, self-organizing teams. The Agile tester is part of self-organizing Agile team. Any testing issue is easier to address when you have people with multiple skill sets and multiple perspectives trying to help. And one interesting case happened in one of the teams in our company. The product owner was constantly interfering, deciding which way the development team should do its work. And Scrum Master, he was serving to the product owner, not to the team. And the two of them, the product owner and the Scrum Master, they went on vacation at the same time. And the team was left alone to self-organize. And as you assume, when they returned from holiday, all planned tasks were finished successfully. So they had a lot to discuss on their respective meeting. So testing is a team problem. We should all work together. We should all use our strength because multiple skill sets, they mean better solution. And developers can always help with testing tasks, creating unit tests, as example. Okay, and now stop saying I wish, start saying I will. Changing our mindset, that's the hardest part. Preventing defects as we go, instead of only finding them, will help us deliver a high-quality solution. We need to take action. And as Amela already mentioned, asking questions all the time, that's the only way that we can contribute 100%. So, creativity, openness to ideas, willingness to take any task or role, and constant view of the big picture are just some components of Agile testing mindset.
Yes, and we ask ourselves why we do all this. Because we want to have satisfied customers. So we should definitely focus on the customer. Testers with other team members, we should provide information to customer, help them consider all aspects of quality, including non-functional requirements such as performance, security, but the ultimate decisions are up to customer. So team should help customers make good decisions by taking simple step-by-step approach. And as Adisa already mentioned, testers should tend to see the big picture. But I believe that we look the application more from a user or customer point of view. So generally, I believe the testers are customer focused. And in the end, everyone should find joy in their work, even though it sounds a bit unrealistic, especially in our country, in Bosnia, where we come from. Work has to be involving, it has to be fun, it has to let you exercise your creativity, your instincts. And we all should do our best to add value to teams where everyone collaborates. Business stakeholders work together with development team, where the whole team takes responsibility for quality and testing. And here we wanted to share with you one video from one of our team buildings that we think best represents this value, joy. Okay, and now something about principles. Here are 10 principles that we believe are important for Agile testers, and they can be found in book Agile Testing, Practical Guide for Testers and Agile Teams. Authors Lisa Crispin and Janet Gregory. Some of you probably heard of them. It means provide continuous feedback, deliver value to customer, enable face-to-face communication, have courage, keep it simple, practice continuous improvement, respond to change, self-organize, focus on people, and enjoy. As you can see, they are much similar to these values that we believe should be embraced.
And last year, we had the opportunity to meet with Crispin and to attend one of her workshops. And after this, we had 2 follow-up meetups to discuss about topics related to Agile testing, and this was a trigger to create this presentation.
Yes, and in the end, I think that we should all ask ourselves, what can I do as individual, as tester, to deliver high-quality solution? We should all work on improving our characteristics: analytical, critical thinking, curiosity, skepticism, and puritanism. You should not focus on just doing everyday work, repeating everything, because in the end, it's not the methodologies that succeed or fail, it's the teams that succeed or fail. So what do you think about this? Do you have any comments now? Or maybe you want to say or share some of your challenges? Yeah, that was basically all from our side. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Guys, first of all, thank you for the session. I do think that you brought a lot of your personal experience and your personal feelings into it, and actually it shows, and it's great to see it not only in a textbook, but from someone who actually lived it with your stories. I do have a question, and maybe you found that, and one of the biggest things that I've seen, and I've seen in a number of companies when transitioning into Agile, and the challenges mostly, not so much the values maybe, but the challenges that testers do face, is how do a person who up to now has been a tester, and again, it really changes between company and company, but most times testers do feel internally less professional maybe, or less than developers in the eyes of the organization. How do you actually put up with that to make sure that once you have your Agile teams, when testers need to actually be on the same level with developers and not to be afraid of even making mistakes, and you were talking about that quite a lot, how do people put up with that? Did you experience that while transitioning, that for testers it was harder for them to just jump into the waters and be an equal with their developers? And if you did, then what did you do for that?
Yes, well, basically, I think I personally believe there's no silver bullet. So it's up to you. And you're right. I was in that situation as well. But you just have to work on improving yourself constantly. You need to earn trust from your colleagues as well. You know, when you work in Agile, and if you don't ask any questions, if you don't contribute to discussion on their own meetings, people tend to forget about you, especially if you work in distributed team and you're on mute all the time and you don't use camera and you start browsing the internet or talking to some other people and so on. So basically, I believe that you have to make them see you. You have to make yourself visible, and you need to talk about technical things, to be part of the discussion, because that way they earn your trust and they know that you can contribute, I think. So I don't know, Adisa, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I think that the communication, as Amela said, it's crucial. So communication is crucial. Also, as Amela mentioned, the trust, yes, because, and also what helped me is that they get to know me. So I share some, okay, say private things, and they also share some of their things, or maybe I know that they love, I know some developers that they love chocolate, so I always have some chocolates on my desk. So that's the way that yes, the communication is crucial, just to find a way to communicate with all the team members.
Yes, and I personally believe that retrospective is one of the most important meetings in Scrum, for example, because we work on project practicing Scrum, because it gives you the opportunity to improve, because I think basically that's it. We all made those mistakes a lot of times, but now we're just trying today. So attending webinars, conferences, but basically you should improve your knowledge. I believe that's the key.
Okay. There's a question here First of all, thanks a lot for that. I'll take the idea of the chocolates, maybe with beers in my area.
Yes.
That might actually work, or whiskey, depending on the time of day. Yeah. But there is actually a question here, or a topic. The person here says that he's actually starting a developers group in his region, but there's no culture of sharing. How can he actually break or the ice in order to make that successful?
Maybe first they can write wiki pages. So that's the one way they can share their
Information.
yeah, information, yes, about the project.
Yeah, well, that's the tough one, but I guess that every team is different, and like I said, there is no silver bullet. Just you need to do best you can just to contribute. Not sure what's the correct answer to your question.
Okay, I guess that we can actually take it offline later on as part of the Slack channel. So, ladies, I do want to thank you very much for this great session. I also think that you did a great job of closing today's day with everything that we covered today. So thank you very much. And again, I'm sure that we'll continue this discussion as part of the Slack channels that we have, obviously today and as well as tomorrow. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, it was a great experience to be part of the online testing conf, and we liked it a lot. So I hope that you'll get something out of our presentation. We can send you the slides as well, but we just wanted to share our story.
I think it was great, and I think that it has a lot of very interesting and very practical tips that people can start using today, not even wait for tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you very much. So right now, both Adisa and Amela are actually waiting for your feedback. So you do have the feedback links on Slack. And I do want to take, again, 2 minutes just to wrap up today before we actually call it a day here. Just 1 second, just to make sure that it looks even a little bit professional if needed. Okay, so here we go. So it's not so much welcome, but it's, again, the online TestConf. And I do want to thank, I'm sure that, again, many of the people who started the sessions today have already left, and we have a lot of new people here, but do take into account we have a lot of time and a lot of people actually taking part of these sessions. And most of the sessions, I think all of them were recorded, and we will try to have the slides and share them with everyone. So thank you very much for everyone who attended, obviously for the presenters who invested a lot of time and a lot of efforts in order to make the sessions happen. Just as a kind of a recount, I think that we went over a very interesting journey, and I was not very sure how every one of the sessions would actually fit together, but they actually make a very good path. And if we started with Alan Page and with his tangible truths about technical testing, Alan helped us to open our eyes and to understand that technical is not exactly, or does not equal, functional automation. We have quite a lot of things that we can do as part of being technical as testers. And I personally believe that if you're not a technical tester, then you are missing out on quite a lot of the value, not to mention all of the excitement and all the stuff that you can actually be doing as a tester in your team. Felicity, with her keeping QA relevant in an increasingly digital world, she actually took us on her trip. And she did talk about how she's been implementing a lot of gap analysis and a lot of ways on how you can actually improve your work as a tester and do a better job, including, again, the list of